This video will show you how to transform your money beliefs in 3 simple steps. I'm going to share with you ways to do it so that you start to get different results now. Welcome back to another video. My name is Aaron and I help people expand their consciousness. Now in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you 3 powerful ways to completely transform the way that you see money. Now, the reason this is so important is because our beliefs are creating our reality. And whatever we believe to be true around the idea of money is going to end up being our kind of experience. So those, in a way, become a self-fulfilling prophecy. Now, the key to this and the secret to this whole process is with awareness, becoming aware of what you believe to be true. What are your definitions about money? Does it come to you easily? Do you have to work really hard for it? Is it something that you get if you con people? Is it something you get if you're simply just doing your passion? How do you view money? And a lot of this has to do with conditioning of how we brought up. When we were brought up, we were told certain things. You know, if we wanted something, we may have been told there's just not enough for it. We may have been told that only rich people act a certain way, and that maybe rich people had to step on other people's heads to get what they have, or, you know, things like that. And that began to shape our perspective of what it means to be wealthy or rich when we were young. Now, what I've learned to do is to see money in a completely new way. You know, even when I'm in like the spiritual type niche, right? There's sometimes a negative connotation around money. It's like, why would you do anything for money? Why would you, give information in exchange for money, you know? And first off, 99% of what I do is completely free. It's why I do daily videos on this channel. But it's a funny idea because we pay money for things that maybe kill us, like Coca-Cola and Pepsi and things that slowly wither away our health. But we sometimes feel weird about giving money for stuff that actually helps us evolve in a certain way or to think about life in a new way that could completely transform our life. So it's kind of a funny paradox, and it has to do with understanding the basis of the way that we see money in general. Now, my intention with this video is to help you understand a new process for money so that you're actually able to attract more of it into your life. Because if there's any negative connotation around money, that will be something that we block away from us, because in order to have it, it would insist on the resistance. It's almost like by having it come and having a certain perspective, that becomes a reality in our experience. Now, the way we do this is a simple 3-step process, and I'll tell you right now that when I did this, everything began to change. Now, the first thing I did is I completely changed the way that I saw abundance. Now, normally we think of abundance only as money. That's how we've been conditioned to think, when in reality, abundance could also be a feeling. Abundance could also be an opportunity. Abundance could be so many different things, but we limit it. We say, I'm abundant and it needs to be money. And then all these other things in the peripheral kind of go blunt. We can't see them because we're not even focused on them. If we even saw them, we wouldn't even count it as a part of abundance. Now let me give you an example. I switched this around in my head, and within a couple weeks, I was offered to go to Costa Rica for 7 nights in exchange for vlogging the kind of experience that I have. And I'm actually leaving here in the next 5, 6 days for that. Now the idea is all I did was change my definition of what abundance is, and I had no attachment to it having to be money. And the moment I did that is the moment within a couple weeks, all of a sudden I'm given an opportunity to do something like that. So I encourage you to first off reframe the idea of money into knowing that it can also be abundance in general. What if someone gives you the opportunity to travel around the world in exchange for, maybe you're a photographer, right? You get to travel with an airline around the world and do photography, which is what you love to do, and you get to stay for free in hotel and resorts. And not only that, but you get paid for it. You see, that is something that is abundance. And even if you didn't get paid for it, but you got the opportunity, that is abundance. So it's a completely new perspective, a way of seeing it, but open up the other possibilities by loosening up the insistence that it has to come in a certain way. Because you could meet somebody specific that gives you an opportunity like that, you never know, but you have to first off change the definition for the way that you see money. Now this is a simple 3-step process to completely transform your relationship to money, and the first one simply has to do with awareness. Now, let me ask you a question that you can ask yourself a question with. Is, what do I believe to be true about money? Does money come easily to me? What modes or what ways do money come into my life? Ask that question to yourself and see what comes up. And you may find that you may say something like, I don't think that money comes to me easily. Or money doesn't come in exchange for my passion because my passion isn't what I can do for a living, because my parents told me that I had to go to college in order to make a certain amount of money. And even though I'm actually excited about this and I know that maybe I could monetize it, I don't really believe I could, because my parents told me that the only people that really make money in life are the people that go to college. You see what I mean? When you become aware of what these blanket beliefs are, then you can start to reframe them. But if you don't know what they are, they're on autopilot. They just continue to run our life. So ask yourself that question. What are my beliefs about money? How do I relate to the idea of money? How are rich people in general? How do I view rich people? Because if we view rich people in a negative connotation, we automatically start to distance ourselves from it. Start to see rich people as just people that got something. You can either be mad about it or you can be inspired that you could also do something similar, because the only thing that's different is their belief in themselves to do it and their follow through with their action. And you could do the same thing. You could believe in yourself, you could follow through with your action, and you could get the same type of results. And especially if you compound that over time and you just decide to do it. So become aware of what you believe to be true. Become aware of your definitions. Does money come hard? Does it come easily? And what I encourage you to do is to start to just be aware of how those thoughts come up in everyday life. If when you're out at the grocery store, you're like, no, I can't afford this, I can't afford this, those become self-fulfilling prophecies. Loosen it up. Maybe it is true that you can't afford certain things, but what you do is you don't focus on that. You focus on what you can afford. You focus on the abundance you do have. And as you do that, you start to change the way you feel, because whatever you focus on, you feel, and that's where everything begins to change. So the first step is simply awareness. The second step is when you make a decision to change. You make a choice to insert something new. So you could be going out to the grocery store. You could see that you keep focusing on how you can't afford this brand or this type of thing. Then what you do is you shift and you focus on what you can afford. You shift your perspective and you just decide that that's what you choose to believe. Now this is the thing. Most of our beliefs have been completely conditioned for such a long time, so there's lots of repetition there. The idea is that we may have to keep catching ourselves. We may keep seeing these thoughts come up. Says, I can't afford this, I can't afford that. You've seen someone that's wealthy and in a nice car, and you start to think negatively about it. You catch yourself. You choose not to think that way. That's where the awareness comes in, and then the choice to think differently. And every time you do this, you are then choosing more of yourself. You're choosing more of an abundant mindset. You're choosing more to attract more of that into your life, of that abundance, and you start to change the momentum of where you are. Understand, a lot of money also has to do with momentum. How often are you thinking about certain things? How much action are you taking? How much emotion do you feel in the direction of your passion? The other thing I encourage you to do is to choose to know and to choose to start to believe, if you don't know it already, that you can do your passion for a living, that you can figure it out. Find people that already do what you want to be doing, and as you do that, that's when you're really going to be able to tap into it. Because there are people that do whatever you're passionate about for a living. With the internet, there are people that can pretty much blog about anything. And it could be something like underwater basket weaving. I mean, it could be something as niche as that. But if it's interesting and if it's done in the right way, it can be something that people get paid a lot of money for. So begin to see your passion and see yourself. Have a powerful self-image. The other part of this whole process is also about your self-image. How do you view yourself? Do you view yourself as only able to make $30,000 a year or $50,000 a year or even $100,000 a year? Is that the limit for your self-image? When you change your self-image, everything begins to change. And that's why I created a subconscious mind free MP3 that you can download below in the description box that will show you exactly how to change your self-image. It'll allow you to change how you think, how you act, and how you feel, and how when you change these three things, everything begins to change, because most of our life is ran by our subconscious mind, so we have to actually get in there to reprogram it. Now this meditation is something that you can listen to right before you go to bed, and as you do that, you're drifting off into the deeper brainwave states of activity, and when you do that, that's when you really influence it. So that's kind of a hack you guys can use. You guys can download it, listen to it for 2 or 3 weeks, and you'll start to see the results then. So that's why it's something that's so important, is our self-image is also something that we must learn to change. So change the way you see yourself. Just start to literally insert the way you prefer to see yourself, and we will always act in assistance and in accordance to the way we see ourselves. So that's why it's important to start to change our view of who we are. The third step to this whole process is simply repetition. Everything we've done has been repetitive, Everything we've done has been wired in over years of conditioning. So the more you do this, the more you consciously choose and you intend on what you prefer and the perspectives that you have and to see yourself in this new way, the more you do that, the more you will completely transform your view of yourself and your view about money. Now, the biggest beliefs and epiphanies that I believe can change your life is, first off, seeing yourself as somebody that is abundant. Even if the abundance isn't directly money, start to see yourself as abundant in a general, and that money will begin to come to you. The second thing you can do is to see money in a new way and knowing that money is in exchange for some type of value that you give to somebody else. That's why I create so much content, because I believe the more value I give, the more money will eventually come into my life. So I'm just giving, I'm giving, I'm giving. I have the intention of growing from a business point of view. I have an intention of being able to make money so that I can put more resources into what I do, so that I can take everything to the next level. Imagine if I had like a video editor that did all my editing. Imagine if I had, you know, some type of ability to travel wherever I wanted to go, to make videos in really cool places rather than just always in the same type of setup. Imagine I had the ability to have opportunities to speak in front of many people that, you know, I could help transform their lives if I did it in the right way, and I had seminars. You see what I mean? That is something that comes from the resources of money, but first I have to give massive amounts of value for that money to come to me. But that's the way I view about it. That's my belief about money. I believe that money is an exchange for value, and I choose to give value in knowing that as I do that, money comes into my life. So that's what I encourage you to do, is to see yourself as somebody that's valuable, to start to monetize your passion, see yourself in that way, and that's when everything begins to change. And if you do the simple 3-step process, all you got to do is be aware of what your beliefs are, ask yourself the question, what would I have to believe is true to be having this kind of experience? What are my beliefs about money? Does it come to me easily? Can I decide to reframe it into my passion? And that's when you'll start to then have the second step, which is the choice, that you can change whatever you believe to be true. You can change it, and that the more consistently you do that, you then move into the third step, which is repetition. You start to wire yourself in a completely new way. Now remember, your self-image is the most powerful thing that you can change. When you change your self-image, everything changes, because the way we work is we work in a cybernetic type way. We will always remain consistent to the way we see ourselves, and that's why I created that free MP3 that you can download below in the description box that will help you reprogram your subconscious mind so that you can be who you prefer to be. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Feel free to like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't already, hit that little notification gear so that you can see the daily videos that I do. The way YouTube does things now is that in order for you to see my videos, you actually have to click that. And then other than that, I will see you guys on the next vid. Peace, much love, namaste.